The year is 2001. England are 4-1 up in Munich and Emile Heskey is bearing down on goal.
And Scholes gets forward, he's got Heskey on for the pass, England are in again.
Calmly, coolly, as if beyond all doubt, he rolls in the fifth.
It's Emile Heskey! It's 5!
For a moment, he's part of English football history. But fast forward a few years and the story is very different. By the late 2000s, Heskey isn't remembered for that goal in Germany, nor the treble he won with Liverpool. He's remembered for the mishaps, the jokes, for coming off the bench when the game's already gone, for the Heskey time. If you were at school back then, you knew it. The kid who blazed one over the bar at lunchtime got called Heskey for all eternity. In pubs, Heskey was shorthand for stick the big man up top and we'll see what happens. His name wasn't just that of a player anymore, it was a punchline.
Heskey is definitely the best player to rely on. Heskey has the skills to pay the bills.
Clumsy, slow, couldn't score. That's the myth. But here's the thing. Behind the memes and the banter, Emile Heskey was trusted by every manager he ever played for. He made Michael Owen look electric. Steven Gerrard called him a dream to have up top. So how did this happen over the course of just a few years? And where does it leave his legacy in the game? I'm Matt from FourFourTwo, and this is Respect the Name.
And Heskey's coming in the other side of Elliott, and it's a goal! So here's Heskey, the flag stays down.
Here comes Heskey! That'll do it!
Gerrard with a cross. It's towards Heskey!
Heskey was a Leicester lad through and through, born and bred, living close enough to Filbert Street to hear the roar on a match day, a stadium that would ring out with his name by the end of his teens. The local boy representing the local club. By 17, he'd made his first team debut. By 19, he was a Premier League starter. Under Martin O'Neill, Leicester weren't exactly anyone's idea of glamorous. They weren't Wenger's European flavour of Arsenal or Fergie's unstoppable United dynasty. But with Heskey leading the line, Muzzy Izzet pulling the strings and Matty Elliott snapping at heels, they were tough, organised, hard to stop. 6'2" and built to bully, Heskey's pace and strength terrified defenders. But he wasn't just big, he was selfless, clever, the perfect foil for a smaller strike partner. 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 was one of the first beneficiaries of having Heskey as a partner, and definitely wasn't the last. In the 1997 League Cup final, we saw the best of him, hassling defenders, running channels, setting the tone. Victory was Leicester's first major trophy in decades. 3 years later, and they won it again, and by then, Heskey was their talisman. Martin O'Neill called him irreplaceable. In fact, his reputation had grown so much, he forced his way into England reckoning and attracted the attention of Liverpool, who saw it fit to splash out £11 million on him, a record fee for the club at the time. 11 million was a ridiculous amount. It was only a few million less than AC Milan had signed 𝗕𝗫𝗍𝗫𝗫𝗍 for only 9 months earlier. There was no sign of a banter striker at this point. He was a hero, a hometown lad turned double cup winner who'd already written himself into club folklore and at 22 had earned the big money move.
It'll be Barnes.
Curled brilliantly! Still John Barnes, Collymore closing in!
Now, Liverpool in 2000 were in a bit of a transition period. For a team so successful in the 80s, the decade that followed was rather unspectacular. And at the turn of the century, 𝗕𝗓𝗍𝗓𝗍 was in the midst of building a new spine. Hyypiä, Hamann, Gerrard, Owen. Now, added to this mix came Emile Heskey. Such was the price of the move that there was always going to be critics, regardless of what he did. But with 1 or 2 already questioning his goal-scoring record, having only hit 6 the season beforehand, there were some big questions that needed answering. And answer them he did. With 22 goals scored across all competitions during his first full season, the 2000-2001 campaign saw his best return in a Liverpool shirt, an unprecedented treble as he won the FA Cup, the League Cup and the UEFA Cup. And arguably, even more impressively, he helped strike partner Michael Owen to win the Ballon d'Or, all whilst finishing the season with only 2 goals less than him. At the time, an interview with Steven Gerrard summed Heskey up perfectly. He said, "A lot of Michael Owen's goals came from Emile's hard work, and I think they complement each other well. Maybe Emile is the sort of player only appreciated by his teammates. If you play with him week in, week out, you see firsthand all the effort and hard work that he does for the team." With Owen himself even calling Heskey his favourite partner, it's fair to say that he was doing all the right things, even as the goals dried up in the following years, averaging just 7 Premier League goals per season for the next 3 years at Anfield. For Liverpool, Heskey was part of one of the most memorable seasons in modern history. He wasn't on the back pages every week, but without him, there might not have been any back pages to write about anyways. At that moment in Heskey's career, it's easy to see why he was not only contributing to Liverpool's success, another League Cup followed in 2003, but also why he was picking up the majority of his England caps. Much has been made of England's golden generation of the 2000s, their failure to win anything, their lack of team cohesion, and all the rumours of club alliances being too strong to see past on international duty. But for Heskey, everything he brought at club level seemed to translate perfectly over to the international stage. Was he trusted by the manager to balance the attack out and do more than just contribute goals to the team? Of course he was. Did he bring a rather underwhelming amount of goals to the side because of this? Yes, his final England total stands at 7 goals and 62 appearances, but did he continue to provide his teammates with better opportunities and foster some excellent relationships with both his Liverpool and international teammates? Absolutely. Picked again and again by 4 different England managers, there was obviously value to having him in the squad, and not for lack of other options, by the way. England were littered with attacking stars at the time, and that actually negatively impacted public opinion. Because with so much goal-scoring talent available, a very low-scoring, inefficient striker in terms of the numbers, the fact that he was still being picked for the national side, well, for fans it was frustrating and arguably kicked off the beginning of all of this disrespect. This then brings us on to the latter half of his career, where poor form and social media combined to basically bring us the very worst of football fandom. Online mockery and a reputation that was tough to shake. This, though, wasn't just from the usual faceless, anonymous subjects as is common with today's abuse online. This was everywhere. On your TV screens, big YouTubers created their following off of Heskey banter. His clips were replayed for a cheap laugh. There were rap songs even written about him. Forums with never-ending jokes, and to top it all off, unfortunately from his point of view, there was so much material to work with on a regular basis. I mean, you've got the fact he was involved in a challenge that led to England captain Rio Ferdinand missing the 2010 World Cup, then the stepovers versus Algeria at that World Cup, and the miss hit against Manchester United, then the miss at Villa Park from 4 yards out.
We need a goal, we bring Emile Heskey on and take 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 off.
The thing is, when players get abused, there often seems to be some sort of redeeming moment. A match, a tournament later down the line where they salvage their reputation, silence the haters, and put themselves into a more positive light. This moment just never really came for Heskey. Ultimately, in my opinion, he was the last of a dying breed at the time, an unselfish striker who critically needed to be the supporting act, one half of a dynamic duo at the exact time when a different style of football was evolving. European football, and especially Premier League football, became inundated with so many different tactical styles of football, many of which didn't really suit him. For example, the archetype of a 2010 striker/forward was a small, diminutive, skillful, speedy goal scorer. Think Messi, Villa, Torres, Tevez, basically the complete opposite of what Heskey was bringing to the table. The game moved on, certainly from an outside perspective, with the coverage, the media and all sorts. But inside, the respect for an honest, hard-working throwback striker remained. The counterpoint is clear. The memes may say one thing, but the professionals say another. Emile Heskey was never going to be Thierry Henry. He wasn't built to be Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. But as for his legacy in the game, ask Leicester fans, ask Liverpool fans who saw him lift 3 trophies in one season. They'll tell you the truth about a kid from Leicester whose career most footballers would have loved to have. Over 500 Premier League appearances, 110 Premier League goals, 62 games representing his country, and 8 trophies. Forget the punchlines, forget the FIFA jokes. Emile Heskey, respect the name.
Heskey's in the middle. Heskey takes it into the danger area again. Heskey's there. In towards Heskey.
Heskey!